Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Does this sound familiar? You're always busy, you're juggling a dozen things at once, but for some reason, work just doesn't seem to move. You're probably dealing with overload, a ton of unpredictability, and that nagging feeling that your projects spend more time just sitting there, waiting, than actually being worked on. Well, today, we are going to dive into a really powerful method designed to fix exactly that. So, let's get into it.
This quote, it kind of turns our whole way of thinking on its head. We almost always think we need to work faster to speed things up, right? But this points to a totally different hidden culprit. All that time work spends just sitting in a queue, waiting for a handoff, or waiting for us to finally get to it. And that is the core problem Kanban really sets out to solve.
So let's diagnose the issue, shall we? In this first section, we're going to look at why just being busy or having a whole team of really busy people is not at all the same thing as being effective. It turns out the modern workplace has some pretty serious built-in traps. Oh man, this one is probably the biggest silent productivity killer out there. Every single time you jump from one task to another, from writing a report to answering an email to joining a meeting, then back to the report, you pay this kind of mental tax. It feels like you're getting a lot done, but this constant switching is actually creating all these hidden delays and just chipping away at the quality and efficiency of your work.
Let's face it, modern work is a team sport. Your task probably depends on someone else finishing theirs, and theirs task might depend on a whole other team. And as these dependencies grow and get more complex, so does the chance for major bottlenecks. One little delay somewhere up the chain can bring everything to a grinding halt.
So, when you boil it all down, here's the thing. Most teams don't struggle because they aren't working hard enough. Not at all. They struggle because the system itself is just overloaded. There is simply too much happening at the same time. And that leads to all the problems we just talked about. The context switching, the delays, and of course, the stress.
And this is where Kanban comes in. Now, it's not about adding more bureaucracy or making people work faster. Nope. It's a method that's designed to make the system of work itself better. And it does this with a few really elegant ideas: making your work visible, managing how much work you have in progress, and focusing above all else on the flow.
This brings us to what is, without a doubt, the absolute heart of Kanban. And it requires a pretty fundamental shift in how we think about what productivity and success actually look like. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way of thinking, the default for most of us, is to make sure everyone has something to do, right? We manage for 100% busyness. But Kanban asks a totally different and frankly more powerful question. Is work moving smoothly from start to finish? The focus shifts from just keeping people occupied to actually delivering value consistently.
Once you start to visualize your work on a board, all the system's problems become impossible to ignore. You immediately see the hidden cues where work is piling up. You can spot where complex handoffs between people are slowing everything down. And you can finally feel the real impact that multitasking overload is having on your delivery time.
Okay, now for what might be the most counterintuitive, and yet most powerful part of Kanban. This section is all about the strange magic of doing less to achieve more.
I know, it sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? Our gut instinct is always to start the next thing, to keep pushing more and more work into the system. But what if the real key to going faster was actually to start less? Let's unpack that. The trick is to completely reframe how we think about this. A work-in-progress limit, or a WIP limit, isn't some restrictive rule that's meant to hold you back. No way! It's a tool that enables focus. By agreeing not to start new work until your current work is finished, you're basically giving the team permission to collaborate, to swarm on problems, and to get things all the way to done.
And you know what? The results are pretty incredible. When you limit your WIP, individual tasks start moving through the system so much faster. This reduces what we call your cycle time. And because people are focused on fewer things at once, the quality of the work improves and stress levels go way down. You're no longer just juggling. You're actually finishing. And that's what it all comes down to, right? A total shift in culture. The team's big celebration moves from, hey, we started a new project, to we finished and delivered value to our customer. This focus on completion, it's a quiet change, but it's an incredibly powerful transformation for any team.
Okay, so you've got your work flowing, but how do you know if you're actually improving? Well, let's talk about metrics, but probably not in the way you're used to. This right here, this is absolutely crucial.
These metrics aren't for performance reviews, and they're not to see who's the fastest person on the team. Think of them more like diagnostic tools that help the team understand the health of its own workflow. They help you see, with actual data, where the real opportunities for improvement are.
So these are like the vital signs of your system. Lead time tells you the total time from when something is requested to when it's delivered. Cycle time is how long it takes to actively work on it. Throughput is just how many items you complete in a given time. And flow efficiency. That measures the ratio of active work time to waiting time. And trust me, that number is often very revealing.
And suddenly, the path to improvement becomes super clear. You start by tracking simple, easy-to-gather numbers. That data gives you objective insights into how your system is really performing. And all of a sudden, your team meetings shift. They're no longer about opinions and gut feelings. They're about looking at the data together and deciding what experiment to try next.
All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually get started? Well, the beauty of Kanban is that you can begin with a tiny, simple experiment without having to blow up everything you're currently doing.
So here's a little 4-step challenge for you. First, just map out your process. And seriously, something as simple as to do, doing, and done is a perfect start. Second, put it up on a wall or in a digital tool. Third, pick just one column, maybe your doing stage, and set a limit. Say, we will have no more than 3 items here at a time. And finally, just watch. Don't force anything, just observe what happens.
So as you run your little experiment, just pay attention to the awareness it creates. That WIP limit will force new conversations. You'll see, when that column is full, the team will have to talk about how to get something finished before they can start something new. You'll start to see very, very clearly where work just waits around. The insights will just come naturally.
And we'll end on this thought. This whole approach, it isn't about piling on more work or cracking some kind of whip. It's a calmer, more sustainable way to work that actually respects reality. It's all about creating a system where you can focus, finish what you start, and deliver value predictably. It's about doing less, but doing it exceptionally well.